Okay. Everybody out there, this is John. This is Studio 1714 at FlintTalkRadio.com. Today we have in the studio with us these guys who are trying to do something really good, I think. They're starting the mission for medical marijuana, basically. And guys, introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Tom Yeager. I'd be the Public Relations Director of the Genesee County Compassion Club. And to my left is Jeremy Rupinski. He's our Executive Director of the Genesee County Compassion Club.
Hello.
Now, this is a hot topic item right now in the media.
It is. It's very big.
Now, it's like... This is like we're talking about this before the show. We started doing this talk, the talk here, and I said I was reading a newspaper or magazine back when I was in high school. I guess I was doing that when I was supposed to be doing something else, but they were covering NORML. So NORML's been around since the 70s, isn't it? Sometime.
Yep.
Okay.
Long time organization.
They had some pretty nice, pretty prestigious people, but I think William F. Buckley belonged to the advisory board back in the late 70s at one point. The conservative, publisher of National Review.
Right.
Because he sat on the board of it because he actually thought there was an insanity going on about, putting people in prison for, using a relatively not harmless substance, but is not as harmful as a lot of the things that people are using legally.
Right.
Yes. Now, your concentration basically on medical marijuana, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's mostly our goal is, to make sure we get a positive patient outcome, and we want to make sure that our patients are able to get the meds that they need and it's being used the way that it's supposed to be used for what it's needed to be used for.
So now there's we were talking about this too before the show started about there's a difference between marijuana and hemp. I mean, they're basically the same plant, but they have different intentions during the course of their breeding. When they breed or select these things. So you want to go into that, the differences between hemp and marijuana.
Basically they're kind of like cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't really call them the same plant by any means, but they're definitely cousins. And actually one of the reasons that hemp is illegal is because it looks too much like the marijuana plant and the federal agents can't tell the difference. What hemp is more of an industrial type of plant. You cannot get high from hemp. It's not meant for any type of recreational type of person or medicinal for that matter. Mostly it's used for all kinds of things. Actually, right now there's over 25,000 different things hemp can be used for.
They're going as far as making automobile parts out of them now. I mean, they're making door panels for the Hondas. I know the Japanese are doing a lot with that and the Chinese as well.
Biofuels, fibers, textiles, the list goes on and on and on. And we're one of the only industrialized countries in the world that actually doesn't produce their own hemp. We just import it.
Another import.
Another thing we're paying a tax on.
Another thing we're a transfer of cash from here to there somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there'd be some farmers in the Midwest that would be interested in having a new cash product.
I would too.
No. I remember reading someplace that marijuana, or I don't know if they're making the distinction, but it was some form of marijuana or pot or whatever, hemp was actually included. They actually included as part of the statistic in California for their cash crops. They actually include that in the amount, the yearly amount that they produce and stuff is, being, money maker,
right?
Money maker. And so there's a kind of admission right there on the government's behalf that this is even if it's now a quote unquote underground economy, that there's still that's a huge section of the economy.
The federal government loves that, tax money that they get every year from the California dispensaries and everything like that. I mean, they're accepting the money that we're giving them in tax money.
Okay. Anyway, that's like, no, I agree with you. It's like I think it's stupid for the government. It's kind of like a hypocriticalness, and just about stupidity, and just plain out stupidity. Now let's say we'll go back to what the medical marijuana is. Now, medical marijuana is like a plant that's actually, selectively bred or created, so it actually has a higher concentration of the how do you say that, cannabinoids?
Cannabinoids.
Cannabinoids, yeah.
CBDs, CBNs are different types of things. The most common ingredient people identify with is THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, and basically that's the psychoactive nature of it, the property of it, I guess I should say, which gets the high feeling from. The cannabinoids, which come along with the plant when ingested, those are actually more helpful in treating pain symptoms and other types of symptoms that can be alleviated through the use of cannabis. So, in fact, one of the things that was a problem with Marinol is that it did have THC in it, but it didn't contain the CBDs and the CBNs and the things that were known to help out true patients. So it definitely is. The things that cannabis can do are really quite amazing. There really should be allowed more studies in the U.S. so that we're able to figure out exactly what we can use it for. And I'm sure that would help with genetics as far as future possibilities of what we could produce and so on. But the federal government's unwilling to cooperate with this on a federal level, and not allowing even the states really to do their own medical testing, I really think is a disservice to a lot of the patients out there that we're saying, okay, yeah, it's okay to go ahead and use. Even with the new Obama policy, we have this new drug czar, Gil Kurlikowski, I believe.
Yep.
And basically, the gentleman said when he came out that they were going to leave medical states alone. Well, I think if that's the case, then let's go ahead and forward this and allow some of our universities to do some real testing. So that we can make sure.
Right here in Flint, we have Mott College that has a huge hydro system that they run for indoor lettuce. I mean, they could be doing testing, and University of Michigan could be doing testing. There's all sorts of things that can be done.
MSU is one of the largest agricultural schools in the world. That'd be a great opportunity for Michigan for us to be able to headway that. And that other countries have already done this, so some of it may be repeating, but at least we could start to share some information. Israel has been doing testing for years and happen to be an authority on it right now, but because we don't have cooperation, we can't even really share that kind of info.
See, I'm going to say this is asinine. It really is. I mean, okay, I've never smoked a joint in my life. Been around weed since I was probably in fourth grade. And my fourth graders are smoking weed when I was a kid. I mean, that's pretty bad. But now, obviously, that's not what your intention is. You're not trying to advocate for that kind of stuff. But one of the things I always saw is hysteria. I mean, I've come to the realization as you get mature, as older, you get more mature. And basically, maybe you just get tired of fighting it. But you start looking at other people's opinions and stuff or ideas. And I found it basically the premise that you can start operating on is that hysteria and just operating on false information is not a good way to operate an adult lifestyle. And I think that's what the problem with these politicians. And I don't know why.
Well, we've been dealing with reefer madness since 1937.
Right.
I mean, it's we're trying to beat something that's been a 4-letter word for how long? I mean, everyone looks at cannabis as a 4-letter word.
And I think with Obama coming on and saying that he wanted scientific, fact-based reasoning,
right.
I'd really like him to stand behind that, because if you look at the science in cannabis, you're going to find that it does have real effects, relief, and possibly even curative properties, which not too many companies out there want to deal with that. It's cheaper to treat a symptom than it is to cure one.
Right. I know that there's a few schools that are looking into doing research on medical marijuana and the declining of cancer cells, but the school can't get the funding for it, so they can't do it. And I mean, this is cancer. That's one of America's biggest threats is cancer of all sorts.
Yes, yeah. Oh, by the way, we got some streamers here, so I just want to give out our number if they want to call in. A number to call is 810-208-1854. I didn't put it up on the screen now. I'm going to do that, too, during the course of this conversation.
All right.
But, I'm kind of, I didn't like Obama. I don't like him. I'm not a fan of, his social programs and his ideas at all. But I didn't like Bush either, so. Anyway.
I think we're agreed on that.
See, I don't see people can actually come to foreground and say that he did something great, because if that's just going to happen, it's going to be down the years down the road. But what I was going to say though is I think I'm older than probably both of you guys. I'm 45, going to 46 in June.
Yeah, you've got me.
Yeah, so it's like I knew so many people doing smoking weed and stuff like that, and they were saying that when I do this, it helps me doing this. Well, a lot of people are dismissive of that. Sure.
Yeah, it's a reason to get high,
and it's a reason to get high. But it is. Let's face it. There are chemicals, as you alluded to. As Jeremy alluded to during the course here. It's like there are certain verifiable drugs or chemicals inside that actually has an effect on the human body. So if let's face it, we all know about where most of us know where opium comes from, and then also morphine and all that stuff. It comes from a plant, originally at least.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, it's like every time they made it illegal, a drug illegal in this country or any other country, then they have a development of problems like underclass who wants to now provide this illegal substance, and they were so willing to take violent means and do violent means to provide this.
Yep, and I like what you're saying there, because what you're bringing up is a bigger argument,
right.
Which is just simply, does prohibition actually work?
Right.
And that's probably a little bigger subject than what we want to get into today.
Yeah.
But I agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's a social change. It's a different way of looking at things and saying, okay, do we really want to go down and continue down this road of prohibition when we really could possibly do it a better way? I'm not a proponent of prostitution or people losing their homes because of gambling. Or people throwing their lives away to drugs. We don't want any of those sorts of things happening. But forcing them into streets, I don't think really is a solution either.
No.
So, But I know we had quite a few things we wanted to cover today.
Yeah, we did.
We want to get back to the medical side.
Medical
of
side.
things.
So I think the reason why I brought that up for is that the problem is that there are these existing laws that go against they're it's hard to the reason why you can't go for it is because of the drug laws.
Yeah, we have to watch with federal laws.
Absolutely. And even with the new policy, the new drugs are and whatnot, we still have to be, mind our P's and Q's. Under federal law, it is still illegal, even though they say they may not want to arrest or harass.
Right, and one of the things,
the law changes.
One of the things that we always preach to our members is, look, guys, we have this new law at a state level. It's not on a federal level. Treat it like you used to always treat it, because we know as well as everyone else knows that our patients have been using it for a long period of time, longer since November. It's nothing new to the Flint area.
Okay, now we have a caller. Hopefully you can hear us. Caller, can you hear us? Oh, she hung up.
Oh, well,
okay.
Call back. We're still here.
Back, yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyways, first off, we are the Genesee County Compassion Club. We hold monthly meetings that are open to the public, free of charge. You guys can come in, get any information that you'd like. We constantly go over the laws, how the law has changed, if the laws has changed since our last meeting. We go over growing techniques, things like that. We make sure that, patients and caregivers can get together and they can exchange their information that they need to exchange. The one thing that we do ask is no transfer of genetic material at any of our Compassion Club meetings. That's not what we are for. We are
not a hookup.
No, we are not. So no phone calls, no emails. We don't need any of that. No, on a more serious note, we are there to educate people. Whether you are just a concerned member of the community and want to know how the community is going to be affected by this new law, come out, see that, we're trying to keep this under control and we're trying to keep it from going back out on the streets and becoming a violent thing.
Yeah. No, by the way, Steve fielded a question from the caller. And
okay.
She about breast cancer? She has breast cancer, and she wants to know what everything about how that marijuana might be able to help her in her with breast cancer.
Okay, well, without getting into speculative type of things, I think what we want to talk about is with cancer patients, obviously one of the major treatment methods for that is chemo, radiation therapy, and we know that this causes extreme nausea along with pain and so on. Cannabis is extremely effective in combating that and alleviating that symptom, allowing people to not only not feel nauseous but to create an appetite so that they're able to eat.
Right, and another thing is you don't have to smoke marijuana to get the medicine out of it. There's a form called vaporization, and then you can make it into edibles, brownies, things tinctures. Like that, tinctures. People make them into different oils that they put on as like a topical oil just for for people with like MS and things like that where their muscles are spasming and things like that. They make them into oils.
Capsules.
There's 1,000 different ways that we can use this drug. It doesn't have to be just a smoking thing. You can make this a very healthy way of doing it, which is better than using, your opiate-induced drugs or your Vicodin and things like that do nothing but shut down your liver.
Yeah.
You don't have to wail on your lungs to use this medicine. And that's one other thing that we need to point out is that it's not just about smoking marijuana. It's about making yourself and your life better than what it was.
Yeah. See, that's what I say. People who are like coming forth like you, spokespeople for this movement, I think is going to do a lot to kind of diminish the concerns or the objections a lot of people have because. You're not coming in here like you're not coming here in a fog yourself. You're not
right.
Away.
What are you talking about, man? No, we're not doing that today. No.
No, it's like did somebody in your own family personally have an issue health problem that caused you to get on board with this? Or?
Well, what it was honestly was my own health problems. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at 17 years old. I was in high school. And I played sports, so, you didn't smoke pot, you didn't drink, you just, you did your own thing. Well, I graduated, and a buddy of mine came over and goes, dude, my mom smokes all the time because she's having chemo for stomach cancer. Why don't you try it? You're having the same problems that she's having, just it's not cancer, it's a different form of a disease. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, why not? Screw it, I'm a kid, why not? So I tried, I smoke it, and it was just totally different experience than being on the drugs that I was on. I was on so many drugs that I didn't want to get out of bed. I was what you would call stoned. I'd laid there, didn't do nothing, got fat, Then all of a sudden I started smoking marijuana, and then I was going out, got a new job, was able to do stuff. I was doing stuff. I was more active. And now I'm not on any of those drugs. The only drug I use is medical marijuana.
Now, see, why don't we go a little bit into what Crohn's disease is in case somebody's listening who has no idea what that is?
Crohn's disease is a disease that can attack your digestive system anywhere from entrance to exit. I guess that would be the best way to put it. I mean, I know that's not a medical way of putting it, but it's a disease that attacks your digestive system. You can get ulcers, that could perforate your digestive system. Then you're leaking toxins into your bloodstream. You have a hard time digesting certain foods. It's like the biggest evil of like the ulcerative colitis, the diverticulitis, and the things like that. It's no fun. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's an attacking disease of their digestive tract.
Severe vomiting too.
That can become with it. You can get blockages to where things are going in, but they stop. So then they have to come back out the way that they went in. It's just the dying and the stopping of your digestive system.
Yeah, because my coworker what the university one of my coworkers had that and Crohn's, and he plummeted, his weight plummeted, and he was a person who could not afford to lose weight.
Right. Yeah. My lowest weight was 135.
Wow. And you're
I'm 220 now.
Yeah. That's
so I've added almost 100 pounds on since then, and yet. Yeah, the medical marijuana has probably helped with that. And, I'm not going to say that, but, if the biggest side effect that you are going to have with the drug is it's going to make you want to eat. For a lot of our sick patients, that's their biggest thing is they just want to be able to eat. They just get so sick every time they eat, or they're just so sick they don't want to eat. And we're just, with something that is like a big thing for you, that's something that you should be able to do and no problem.
Right.
And that's the biggest side effects. Okay, you're hungry, you might be a little sleepy depending on what you've used, because there's different types of marijuana. One is called indica, another would be sativa.
That's right.
And Jeremy, if you want to go into, a little bit of what indica and sativa are,
Well, I mean, one of the things that we talked about is, obviously we have a multitude of different things that cannabis can be used for, but what you also can realize is, different methods of ingestion, and then as well different types of cannabis. So these different types here can be used to treat different types of symptoms, and almost specifically. Give an example, like a person who may have an anxiety disorder or trouble sleeping at night may benefit more from an indica type cannabis, which is going to be more of the relaxing, calming type of effect, versus someone who maybe has pain issues but needs to work. They need to get through their day. They can't afford to be relaxed and sedated. And in that case, they might want to go with a sativa type of a cannabis, which is a more uplifting, upbeat sort of an effect.
You get the effect you get all the effect that the cannabinoids give you, your CBCs and everything like that, but you don't get as high of the THC levels to where you feel, really heavy in the eyes, really lackadaisical and things like that. So yeah, you're able to get up and go and do your things.
Yeah. Now, some of the sativas do have a very high THC content, so not to say that you wouldn't feel an effect from that, but it also wouldn't be the type that would make you want to sit back down on the couch.
Right.
So you notice right here, you're already addressing a lot of the issues that people have against marijuana, because there's certainly different types of, like you were saying, there's different types of, plants out there, basically. I mean, they're engineered or been bred for certain purposes.
Right, and I mean, I cannot think of another drug that has as many different ways of using or purposes that medical marijuana has. I mean, I know
side effects.
Right, without some sort of side effect. I mean, the odds of someone being allergic to THC is like 1 in 30 million. I mean, and I think I know actually one person that is, and that was the doctor told him, he goes, I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's like, actually I've known one person myself that through somebody else that is allergic to marijuana smoke.
Right, but it's it's such a high thing. I mean, penicillin. I mean, everyone knows somebody that's allergic to penicillin.
Yeah, my own sister, and I'm not. And
right.
Twins, so but it's like no. I think the unique thing about marijuana is that yes, I always argue it does have effects. I mean, people say they can. My friends will say they can smoke a joint and to drive just as good as they normally can.
Well, and see, that's another thing that we preach is treat your medicine just like a drug,
right,
and just like your alcohol.
Right.
Just like your Vicodins. You don't hammer out your Vicodin and go drive. You don't hammer down a beer and go drive.
Right.
Don't smoke a joint and go drive.
Right.
It just follow the law. You are still driving under the influence, and that is a law that, we push and we, abide by, is don't drive under the influence.
Man, I had a friend, she's had some kind of, she had some type of real small, petite, small epileptic seizures.
Okay.
But she was never actually aware of it until she was using marijuana as a recreational drug.
Right.
But then she started seeing that there was like these gaps in her information. And then she started asking people, like, did you say this before? She started doing this, and they would, yeah, we did this. And she was realizing there's kind of like there was like times of her life there was like big chunks of information missing, and that's when they started. They diagnosed her through a lot of testing and EKGs and stuff that she had this mild form of epilepsy.
Oh. Wow.
And so she goes, it was weird because she said, I'm not going to say, I'm going to say, well, smoke weed so you can discover so relatively undiscoverable medical problems in yourself. But she said it did help me out. And other things too, she did feel like a sense of like relief from other problems she had developing too.
Right.
So I mean, she was like doing it. She was doing it for because smoking dope just to get high like everybody else was, and she was hanging out with. But she did have there was a positive outcome. That it did help her put her onto something else.
And that's great. I mean, if someone can find something out, and it helps them with it, that is what we're here to do, is try to make sure that patients have the best, life that they possibly can have, because, some of the people that we're dealing with aren't in the best of health. It's not like they just went and stubbed their toe. I mean, these are people that have cancer, Crohn's disease, nail patella. I mean, there's a whole list of things. MS, cancers,
the list goes on. And that's one of the things where obviously we're not trying to encourage people to use cannabis. It's a medical thing,
right?
We want people to realize that it has a real medical efficacy as far as being able to provide that benefit. And we have had a lot of patients that have come in, or potential patients actually, that have said, I've been using cannabis for years, and that's how I've always dealt with my problems. And so, what I say to them is go get registered so that now you're legal, you're protected, and so you don't have to live in fear anymore for treating yourself.
Right. I spoke to a gentleman last week that, for the last 20 years, he's had to smoke a joint right before he took his pills, because if he didn't, his pills would just sit in his stomach, and then he'd end up throwing them up later. So then he's throwing up $200 worth of pills in the toilet.
I just, before I went when we started the show today, I was talking to a friend of mine because I learned about the show going up, and he's an AIDS patient.
Okay.
And he lives in another state, and he was saying that he always, this way he worded it, if I can recall exactly, he said he always found that smoking a joint or something like that would actually help him blend all the medicines he was on for AIDS together. He said he wouldn't be throwing them up. Then they weren't like interacting with each other so violently that he could keep them down, and they could do the desired effect.
It probably helped it out with his digestion and the nausea of it, because I mean it does something, and I don't know exactly what it does, but it's probably in how it makes you hungry, and it works with your metabolism. That probably helped him digest those pills and everything and work better.
Yep, absolutely.
And I mean, I've heard as far as, when you eat with pills and things like that, it can make, the timing of things in your weight.
Hello?
Caller here. Don't want to lose this one.
Yeah, hold on. I'll see if I can put you on speaker, okay? Can you hold on?
All right, I'm going to send them through here.
All right.
Okay, can you hold on? Let's see if I can put you on speaker, okay? All right. Okay.
Caller?
Can you hear?
Hello. Yeah, is Barb Hooch in the house?
Hello, Barb.
Is it Barb?
Is she in the house today?
Oh, no, Barb is not in the house today.
Oh, we thought you were Barb.
Yeah, we were hoping it was Barb. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
No, we don't have Barb with us today.
I'm a breast cancer. I have breast cancer, and I heard Barb on the phone. I mean, on
Johnny
the radio.
Burke show.
Yep, on Johnny Burke Tuesday morning.
Yep. And I wanted to ask her a few questions about with the medication. So
okay, well, I tell you what, thanks for bringing that up. And obviously, breast cancer is one of those subjects that it can be uncomfortable to deal with, especially for females and males and that sort of a thing. So we are actually going to be starting a women's group within our Compassion Club, so that women can feel more comfortable. And,
right, and you don't have to come in and talk to us guys about things that you don't want to do. And we want to help you work with Barb and be able to get you into a position where you're feeling better.
Yeah. Did you have any type of question or anything that we could answer for you today?
No, no. I'd rather just speak with the female.
We're
only good for so much,
Right.
Right. Yeah.
No. But if you do email us at Genesee County Compassion Club at live.com, we will set you up with Barb's information so you can get a hold of Barb and you can feel more comfortable talking to her. Or you can stop by our meeting June 11th, which will be at the Colonial Lanes in Flushing. That's 6430 West Pearson Road in Flushing. You can stop by in there, and she'll be usually there at most all of our meetings. So,
That's a week from Thursday, I believe.
yep, it's June 11th. So
That's right, June 11th, 7 p.m.
Yep.
Okay, how come she's not there today?
Barb, we kind of threw this whole thing together, and we didn't have a chance to get with Barb and get Barb's schedule down. But we are going to have her in on every other show from now on for this exact reason.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, then I'll just wait and speak with her then.
Great. Well,
Okay.
thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, bye.
All right.
Bye.
Well, that was our first caller on the show, and we want to encourage anybody out there listening. Please call in any kind of questions you have. We want to do our best to answer them.
Oh, yeah.
And, if we can't, we'll get you pointed in the right direction. So keep calling in.
Right. Well, thank you for that call, guys.
By the way, I would like to alert you. There's a person listening in, and he's talking in the chat room.
Yeah, I was just starting to look down at that.
Okay, so if you want to address that question or that concern.
Sure.
All right, hold on. All right. I'm still a card holder and still hesitant to attend a CC meeting. Secondary to people passing judgment or losing my job. Well, when we hold our meetings, the first thing that we do is, our meetings are open to the public, but there's no photography and things like that. And you coming to a meeting, it does not mean that you are smoking pot or anything like that. You are just looking to educate yourself or anything like that.
That's
so,
right.
If you lost your job for showing up to one of our meetings, I wouldn't think that would go too well in a legal situation.
Yeah.
I think there'd be some ratifications for someone being fired for attending
Sure.
a meeting.
But we are definitely sensitive to the let's call it the persecution side
Right.
of the issue, and we do have a lot of people that are very nervous to come out to these meetings. We have a lot of people that have been living in a closet for a long time, and it is not easy to come out and show people that you're a regular person too. But I will tell you that we take our club members and our patients' privacy very, very seriously. So, we don't allow people to come in and photograph or media to come
Right.
in because it is a private matter, and it's nobody's business if you're a patient or if you're a caregiver or whatever it is your stance is.
There's HIPAA laws that protect people,
That's
and
right.
that's why they're there. And what medicine you use is part of your personal information that does not need to be passed around. And
Absolutely.
Now, you and I had a conversation yesterday on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned HIPAA laws. Why don't you talk a little bit about what those are?
Well, I mean, what HIPAA laws are is pretty much a guideline of how your medical history and everything with your medical relativeness to you should not be passed on in freedom for random access and public. It's not public
Information.
Public information.
Yeah.
It's so that's why when you sign in that piece of paper every time you go to a new doctor that they have the right to release your information to your insurance company and they have the right to release your information from your other doctors is because you're signing over the right for them to look at your medical information.
Yeah. Essentially, if you were to call up a doctor's office and ask for information about a patient, obviously you'd be turned away or not.
Right, and I mean, my wife, she works in the medical field and things like that, and I mean, when we get phone calls for my medical problems, they won't let her know anything because it's not me, and that's part of the HIPAA laws, and it drives her nuts, but that's why the laws are there, to protect people like this gentleman or lady, I'm not sure which by the name, but, to protect people like this.
Yeah, and we just are automatically going to follow along with those guidelines.
Oh, yeah,
because
I mean,
we're dealing with patients,
right.
we're dealing with medical issues.
Yeah, because at our second meeting, we ended up stopping TV5 from coming in. We ended up doing an interview. We were completely fine with having an interview. I did it part, and a few other people were part of that interview, but we would not let them in because our patient's privacy is, our number one, goal. On top of a positive patient outcome.
Because that's another thing. For the future shows, and by the way, I won't be always interviewing you guys. This is going to be run the show themselves, but they're going to be bringing up. Maybe you can bring it up about the laws that are protection, and also, if you guys are seeing or aware, there's movements to eliminate barriers and stuff like that people are facing facing their treatment facing treatment now, going through treatment. So it might be a good thing to keep updated with all that kind of information.
Right.
Maybe also direct people to sites where the HIPAA laws can be found. And
Yep.
Because basically, I think people do surrender. I mean, I'm a member of the ACLU, and a lot of times they do like videos and stuff they send out because people will give up on their rights if they don't think their rights or they're not entitled to stand on those principles.
That's
yeah,
right.
people have a really hard time standing up for themselves
Right.
anymore,
Yeah.
and it's a lost thing.
It's intimidating.
Yep. And yeah, thank you very much for that question. That is it's a very hot topic. Is people's privacy and things like that. That's why, like, if you look at our MySpace page and things like that, you can only see our logo until you become a friend or something like that, because our privacy of who our friends are and things like that are our privacy, you know, and we watch out for privacy to that little extent.
Yeah. And it's also up to all of our club members how much they want to get involved.
Right.
You know, we don't need everybody to come in and actually take an active part, but we still want them to be a member, to come in and just get educated, to meet other people. There's a lot of information sharing that goes on at those compassion clubs. It's truly invaluable. You
Right, because I mean, as long as we're arm in arm, I mean, no one can take us down. I mean, as long as we're together and not trying to all go in our separate ways, we can get a lot of things done, and it's starting to happen now, and we're really starting to see it.
Yep.
So I'm really kind of encouraged by this too, because I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you guys come on a regular basis, and we're talking about maybe once a month, hopefully maybe going once a week, because this is such a crucial issue. I mean, and I don't think you can appreciate one thing about is like personally, you told me back when I was in high school I was going to be on board for a group advocating for medical marijuana or any kind of marijuana use. I would have laughed you out of the room, you know, because I mean I was just dead set against it. But there is a reason why a lot of times people say, well, people just want to self-medicate. Well, I think that's kind of an admission that there's something going on with somebody that they're finding they want to address, they want to deal with. It's not just something does help them out, and they're searching for it.
Well, everyone self-medicates to a point. I mean, you go to the drugstore, you buy a bottle of Tylenol for your headache, you are self-medicating.
Right.
I mean, you go get Pepto-Bismol, you are self-medicating. So the self-medicating thing, I don't know. It's an iffy line.
That's one of my backgrounds. I've always been to homeopathy. And
right.
It's just simply, doctors certainly have their place.
Yes.
You can't replace them, but there's other things out there as well that can be used that are just as effective, if not more effective in some cases.
I know there's a lot of work with like Chinese herbs and things like that being used with cancer, with like prostate cancer and testicular cancer and things like that. You know, that they're using that joined with women's hormones. You know, I mean.
By the way, the person who asked you that question has already asked you another question. I think you'd want to address that one.
All right.
One too.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, this one will be for Jeremy. Did either one of you attend the Oaksterdam University in Ann Arbor? Just wondering how it was. Jeremy, take a hold of this one.
Well, thanks for the question again. We appreciate it. Yes, I did attend the Oaksterdam University, and it was a fantastic weekend. For those of you out there that don't know, Oaksterdam is the first of its kind in cannabis education. They started originally out in Oakland, California. That's where the name Oaksterdam comes from. And now they have a second.
Where's the Sterdam come from?
Sterdam. That'd be the Amster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was the first one out there in Oakland. Now they have a second one opened up, I believe, across the bay.
Is it Sanfordam?
Sanfordam, yeah. Still Oaksterdam, but just second location. What these guys do basically is they provide cannabis education, not just cultivation techniques, but also information about law. You know, how to protect yourself, how to make sure you're staying within your local ordinances or state laws, whatever it may be.
Right, and that's the one goal that we push is, stay within your ordinances.
Yeah, so that's part of their training program as well, but they really get into more of the specifics when it comes down to actual cultivation. So everything from, the very beginning of planting that seed to the very finishing part of it as far as in the curing process. They also got into a little bit of tincture making, cooking, different types of preparation, whether it be with the glycerin or alcohol types, butters, things that you can make from them. So very, very educational. We had about over 300 people show up, 285 registered students, I believe. I was honored to be one of the professors for Oaksterdam and helping out with the cultivation classes, specifically related to Michigan's climate. So it was a really big honor for me, and I really enjoyed it. We had a lot of other great individuals there from Michigan Normal. Had a couple of attorneys there for speaking. We had some doctors in the audience. Oh, another call.
Yeah, hold on. Hello.
But Oaksterdam was just a fantastic thing, and they are going to be coming back. So I believe they're shooting for an August or a September date.
And that time I will be there. I'm not missing it this time.
Yeah. So I might be teaching part of that course as well. So we'll see. But we are pumped to have them in the state.
Oh yeah, they helped out tenfold. They probably did more than we could have ever expected from them.
Very very well organized group, and
right.
That was one of the things I was impressed by. It was a professional level top-notch program that they put everyone through. And I think everyone was very, very pleased with what Oaksterdam did here. This is their first time they ever came out of California and did anything outside of their own two home bases.
You were telling me that you guys pulled people from Tennessee, Kentucky, New York.
Nine different states.
That is just awesome that we had 9 different states. That's 9 different states economy that just came and spent money for Memorial Day weekend in Michigan.
That's right.
Sorry about that. The caller was I feel the call answered because she was calling about one of the talks of the woman that the other woman called.
Oh, okay.
She asked if she was here, so no, she's not here today. So I said encourage her to call back in the next show.
Barb, if you're listening out there, can call in.
We need your help,
right?
But no, I think. Do you have other information too that you want to? You said you had like a kind of a script. That
we've been actually kind of hitting along on the way.
I just want to make sure you keep because I've been keeping you off track. I think.
Well, no, we appreciate your help and helping us get through our first show here.
Right? She is a very popular lady.
Yeah, believe it or not, we did plan something to actually share with you.
I can see we do some work and things like
that. That's a stereotype produced right there.
Right? There was everything was drawn out, and we knew what we were going to do. We may have done it yesterday, but it was done. But no, a little bit of what we wanted to get into is the basic history of medical marijuana and the marijuana history, where it comes from, where the different strands come from. So Jeremy, why don't you kind of lead us into that? You are the growing connoisseur of.
All right. Well, basically, we have cannabis grows in just about virtually every region of the world. In fact, the only place it doesn't grow is Antarctica. It can be found in also other 6 continents. And a lot of the strains that we have on the market today, whether it be the black market or in the dispensary market, as you call it, or medical market, most of the strains have originated from these different regions. They've been crossbred or hybrid, cultivated to draw out the best characteristics of each of those types of plants. Most people can identify with some of the major strains, such as like an Afghani. The strain list can go on and on
right.
and on. I don't want to bore you with all the funny names that we have going on for these things.
Blueberry, strawberry,
Malawi Gold, and the Hindu Kush,
lemon, skunk, and cheese. And,
we like the names.
They're fun.
But that's cannabis is 10,000 years. We've known that it's been on the earth and been used and cultivated for being used. Not just being a feral plant. So,
it's been used from everything. I think there was even one American flag that was made out of hemp.
Actually, the Declaration of Independence is written on hemp.
Yep.
For those people who didn't know. But cannabis has been around forever.
Right.
And, hemp, cannabis, the family of it. And, in 1937, the United States started to create this prohibition through the Marijuana Stamp Tax Act. And basically what this ended up striving from or originating in was a group of people in Utah who felt that cannabis made women loose and sleep with people of other color. Basically that's where it came from.
There was a lot of hatred against gays and coloreds, and the Jewish were the ones that were really getting hammered at that time, and that was you went and you fornicated with them or you hung out with them, and that was against the rules of Utah. So that's what started this whole push.
Yep. So Utah, and there was a couple other groups that were trying to push for this. And our first drug czar for the U.S., I believe his name was Henry Anslinger, who also came out and basically said the same thing. His verbatim statement that he said was, cannabis makes women loose and sleep with colored folk. And, that kind of comment to come from our government in the first place is completely flooring.
Right.
And then to have it reinforced or at least enforced through their actions continues to floor me. But it's obviously developed into more than that, not just a racist issue or not just a bigotry type of issue, but brought into other things such as medical. There's always a concern of smoking.
Right.
If you're smoking, that's not a good thing. Cannabis in itself is completely harmless. It's the smoke that's not so great.
Right.
And like we said before, you don't have to smoke it. So
Nope.
Basically this Stamp Act made it so that you had to purchase a stamp in order to possess or cultivate cannabis, and the government didn't issue any stamps, so therefore you couldn't do it. And then in 1971, Nixon enforced or put out the drug policy, and basically in that, cannabis was labeled as a Schedule I narcotic, and that pretty much put it on the map for being an illegal substance, punishable through,
right, and
as a federal crime.
What the schedules of drugs are is relativeness of how it's used in a medical way, and what has some medicalness.
Whether it's used for medical use or
exactly.
not.
And
So
a
Schedule
Schedule 1
1
is there's no medical use for it, and that's just absolutely flooring to me.
Yeah.
But yet you can get heroin and cocaine and that is medical use. You can use it because cocaine is a topical
Well, it's kinda-
number, and
Yeah. But the fact that cannabis is listed in the Schedule 1, which all of the drugs in Schedule 1 basically are supposedly have no medicinal use.
Right.
And clearly we have medicinal use of cannabis in the US. So the fact that it is a Schedule 1 drug is redundant. This doesn't make sense.
And what all it was just a witch hunt to just try to get everyone on the war of drugs. It was a way to get this whole war on drugs going, and it's been nothing but a bunch of wasted money since. I mean, we've had newspaper articles that are saying somewhere upwards of $2 million spent for every $100,000 worth of product taken off the street.
Yep.
That just doesn't seem economical to me.
And Tom's bringing up a good point here. There's a lot of nonviolent drug offenders that are sitting right now in our penitentiaries or correctional facilities. We're paying for them. We're paying for their treatment, for their housing. These guys never hurt anybody.
No, but yet we have killers, rapers, and things like that roaming our streets.
Yeah. Sounds like we got another caller here, so appreciate those calls. Keep calling in.
Keep them coming in.
But that kind of was a history lesson on cannabis. So after we get done with this call here, we're going to talk a little bit more about the club, our Michigan Medical Marijuana Association. We want to make sure we mention them and what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. Michigan Medical Marijuana Association, michiganmedicalmarijuana.org for everybody out there online.
Yep.
Check them out. They are a great website, great resource for information.
Yep.
Join them, become a member, help these guys out. I mean, they waste, and I shouldn't say waste, they spend their whole day and all their time away from their family helping out for this movement.
You have a caller?
All right, let's bring it in.
Can you hear him?
My question, I missed the first half of the show, but I'm very interested about the cancer treatment.
Oh, okay.
What aspect of it did you miss all of that part of it? Or basically what we were saying about as far as cancer treatment, there are medical studies that do allude to a curative property of cannabis towards cancer. So I would encourage you to check that out. We're going to give out information a little later in the program as to where to find that info so that you can read it for yourself. We certainly don't make any medical claims. We're not doctors here by any means. But what we can tell you, which is pretty much fact, is that cannabis does treat the symptoms of the medicine that is used to treat cancer, and that's
with your radiations and your chemos
right.
and
So,
things like that.
The nausea, the cramping, the pain, all of the things that go along with that. Cannabis is one of the best things out there to treat that part of the symptoms. Again, from the treatment that's given to treat the cancer. So, and that's kind of what I really wanted to focus on, because there's actually specific provisions for that in the state law,
right,
so that people can get the cannabis recommendation from their doctor in those cases.
Right, and you bring up another good point. You said a doctor's recommendation. You didn't say a doctor's script.
Yep. I want to get into that a little bit, but before we do that, caller, did you have any other things that we should address, or does that kind of answer your question?
Well, no, I appreciate that, but yeah, I do have one more.
Sure, go ahead.
About the patient-to-patient transfers.
Okay.
Because I thought with the spirit of the law that would be, an option.
Well, and here's the thing, and thanks for bringing that up. The best thing I can tell you about the law is that the law was written to pass, not necessarily to work. And so if we start to pigeonhole this law or the spirit of the law or whatever it is into a box, we're going to find that there's a lot of gray areas in that box.
Right.
And here's the thing. I mean, patient-to-patient transfers, when I read through the law material myself, do I think that's a possibility? I do. Am I going to tell you that you're okay to go ahead and participate in that? No, I'm not, because that's a choice that you're going to have to make, and it's going to be a choice that you're going to have to live with.
Right.
And, we always can fall back on things like affirmative defense, which we can get into that a little bit later today, hopefully, if we have time. But there's a lot of gray area to the law, and all I can tell you is do your best to follow it, and make sure that whatever you do is in your patient's interest. It's not from your personal gain. And I think if you do that, that's going to be the big key. If you've got a patient that is, they don't have any cannabis, they've got their card and they're sitting there in pain and vomiting, and how you could not help them out is beyond me.
Right.
So, again, I'm not going to tell you what to do. The gray areas are evident, and the people that are getting involved certainly are starting to understand that it doesn't spell everything out for you in the law.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time. One of the people in our chat room said, hey, we're a little bit farther behind than the West Coast. And yeah, we are, but the West Coast has been working since 96 on this.
That's
and we've
right.
been working since April, really. I mean, So
callers, that kind of, I know that I probably just put more mud in the water there for you, but it kind of give you an idea where we're coming from on this.
Yeah, but who would be in charge of clarifying the gray areas? I mean, is it the voters themselves?
It's a little bit with the voting, and until then, it would be played out in the court system.
Well,
I mean, if you want,
you're right. I mean, a lot of it is going to get played out in the court system, Tom. What we're hoping, though, is that we will get a little bit more direction from the state. The state already has the law; they already have the rules, so we don't really want to see those change at this point. But we would like some direction, maybe possibly from our attorney general.
Yeah.
And I know that they are working right now to try to create that meeting, and I don't know how much detail I can get into on that, but I can tell you that they are working on that. They realize that there are a lot of holes in this that need to be addressed.
Right. Michigan hasn't had a medical marijuana law since, 84, I think was when it came off the last time. And I mean, so we're trying to fix 20 years worth of crime against and making it legal again. And I mean, there's going to be a couple loopholes that it's going to take the first year to pound out.
Yeah. So one of the things I'd like to encourage all of our listeners, callers, and you too, is that if with these questions and so on, they are legitimate questions. It's not, can I be a successful drug dealer type of question.
Right.
This is a legitimate patient concern question. And so what I would encourage you to do is pose your questions to your local representatives, your House representatives from the state, your attorney generals. Your politicians are they work for us.
Right.
So
and,
if we need clarification on something, let's pressure them to give that to us.
Exactly.
So thank you,
All right,
caller.
thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Hey,
I appreciate what you're doing, too.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to touch on. Jeremy and I, we travel down to the House of Representatives often. And if you get a hold of your House reps and, let them know that you want them to meet with us, we would be glad to meet with them and talk about the laws and, work with these guys so, things go smoothly in this transition period.
Yeah. And, if you guys want to get involved out there, you're listening, we say the more the merrier.
Yeah.
So get a hold of us on our email address, Genesee County Compassion Club at live.com.
Right.
And you can jump on the bandwagon.
Oh,
because we're looking for all the hands we can get.
Right.
Let's go a little bit back into our topic.
Oh, we're back on the phone again.
Let's take a call.
All right, I'm going to take a sip, actually.
But we get done with this here. We kind of want to get back into what the club is doing just so people can understand what these compassion clubs are all about.
There's compassion clubs all over the state. If you get onto the MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org and click on the compassion club link, you'll find every compassion club in the state of Michigan. So if you're listening in Traverse City, you can find out the information about the Traverse City Compassion Club.
That's right. It's actually right on the very first page. You can't miss it. It's a big old Google calendar. And
right.
It'll tell you when they're happening and
exactly.
where. So let's see here. Get through this question. Again, our Compassion Club meet's going to be June 11th.
Yep.
Thursday, 7 p.m. out at Colonial Lanes in Flushing. Meetings are open to the public. They're free. At the meeting, we're going to be going over more information from the law and the rules and just trying to make sure people are on the up and up.
You got a caller?
Yeah, okay.
All right, caller, please.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Are you there?
Am I speaking to Tom or Jerry?
This is Tom and Jeremy.
Okay, well, I am calling in regards to Barb Hoos, Hoos.
Yep.
You know Barb?
My husband has cancer, and she wanted me to call to let you know that she gave him an application and has spoken to him about all this.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Is he the gentleman with stomach cancer?
Yes.
Okay, I think we're working with George from Jesters to do a little something for him this summer. I think we're getting together a poker run or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys were involved in that.
Yep, yeah, that's one of mine and Barb's and a good friend of ours, Vic. He's helping out with that. We're looking to do a good thing for him and also for the club and for the movement.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Absolutely.
no problem. I'm happy to hear that he's got his application.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, and that's Barb. She's one of our club members, and that's just proof right there that these clubs work. It's just people helping people.
I mean, Barb's a sweet lady. She would probably give you the shirt off her back just so you had one. I mean, that's why we're getting phone calls for the lady. I mean, there's a lot of really nice people that we work with, and how someone could want to persecute and go after some of these people is just absolutely beyond me.
Yeah.
Because I want to interject here. It's probably because they're safe targets. They're not like the they're not like the drug lords of Colombia.
Right.
Shoot the hell out of them.
Yeah.
No, but we play the smarter game though now, where we got the lawyers and things like that can help us, and I think we have the law.
That's homeschoolers face similar challenges. Not as severe, obviously, as probably somebody using a schedule, what they consider a Schedule 1 drug. But people who were advocating years ago when I was a kid for the homeschoolers, a lot of them went to prison, jail. Standing up for they want to educate their children at home.
Right.
And so I think every movement's got the people who actually take it on the chin more than anybody else has to.
Yep. And that's what this whole country's been founded on, is a bunch of movements, and then what people wanted and what the majority wanted. And I would say on November, the majority said they wanted medical marijuana, and that's what's brought us to where we're at.
Yeah. 63% of Michigan passed the Proposal 1 ordinance. And it also passed in every single county in the state. So there are certain counties where we're having, let's just say, concerns at this point. But I can tell you that the voters in that county said yes, that they're okay with medical cannabis.
It carried every single precinct. There wasn't even a precinct that it failed. I mean, this had more votes for it than anything that's ever been voted for on the Michigan ballot. It had upwards of over 3 million votes.
Yeah,
Obama got just over 2. So, go back on the record book, there's nothing that's touched it.
That's a pretty telling statement. And the other thing that I'd kind of just keep on hitting in people's brains here is that that kind of a vote goes across all kinds of barriers.
Yeah, right. It's
not your inner city. So if you want to think you're getting the inner city influence on it, it's not your high end, Royal Oak areas or Bloomfield Hill areas to where you think that you're getting, the upper white class echelon or whatever
it certainly spans all social groups.
Right. And everybody said yes, because they feel that there is medical purposes to it, and they are completely right. It's about time where facts become facts, and the fiction just gets pushed off to the side.
Oh, by the way, we have a Scott that's he sent you a message here.
All right,
you want to react to that? I think it's a very nice statement. So,
hey, thanks, Scott. Scott in Genesee County just wanted to say thanks for all of our hard work. And you know what, Scott? It's people like you that take your time to thank us that makes every single bit of it worth
us going.
I probably get, 3 or 4 good emails every week of just people that are just so thankful for what we do. And that's payment enough.
That's we appreciate it, Scott. It's a privilege to do this.
Oh, yes, it is.
Our helper here, he said, hey, you'd have been shocked 15 years ago. You told him you'd be helping us get on the show.
Right.
But I tell you what, 10 years ago, I'd be shocked that I was sitting here today able to talk about this.
So we have a caller, by the way.
All right.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Are you there?
Hello.
Caller?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I was listening to you guys online there. And my name is Bob, and I live out here in Madison Heights.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob. I think I know you. How you
I think we know you, Bob.
You think you know me? Okay.
We might know you.
Maybe. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to Brad this morning, and I was concerned about what it said in the paper in the Free Press about doctors' notes not being enough for patients, that they actually needed a card.
Well, and that's the thing. One of the debates right now is that in order to be legal, you have to have a card. Here, let me explain very clearly what this is going on right here. Okay, you have 2 different things going on. First of all, if I go get my card, I am legal.
Yep.
Okay, I am protected from arrest. I am legal as long as I'm abiding within the state's rules.
No, that's the part that you have to catch right there. You are legal, and you will not be arrested with your card.
That's right. The second part of this is that if I have my doctor's recommendation, then I technically could qualify for something called affirmative defense. Now, the thing about affirmative defense is, will it help you get not convicted? Yes, possibly. But that means that you still go through the arrest process. You still go spend a little night in jail.
You're still jail, bailed, and bonded.
You still get a lawyer. So affirmative defense is something to keep you out of jail. It doesn't keep you out of the process.
Right. You're still going to be thrown into the whole loop law of everything that's going to happen. You're going to find out all about the judicial system in whatever county or city that you're in.
So we would encourage you that, once you get your doctor's recommendation, yes, you would be protected through affirmative defense. However, we encourage you to go ahead and get your card so that you can be protected from arrest.
Right.
Does that help out a little bit?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
So, and affirmative defense is one of those things that right now can also help cover up some of those gray areas, but again, it doesn't help you from arrest. So we need to make sure that we are trying to stay within the guidelines, and also, again, make sure that what you folks are doing out there is in the patient's best interest.
Nothing.
Yes.
The question too. You mentioned before for that the event Oaksterdam.
Oaksterdam.
Mm-hmm. You have you said you mentioned lawyers there. Could you get maybe one of those or two of those to come forth during the course of the show, the future episodes?
Possibly, yeah.
I'm sure we could probably call up a couple of the lawyers that we know that have been working with us, and maybe get them in here and do a little speech on you know how they go after some of these cases, because I know a few of them are taking cases right now and are doing a few cases. Can't get into what the cases are, who they're in, or where they're at. But they are working on cases, and they say that they're going pretty well. That they're not having too much of a problem with them.
We have had a couple cases already reviewed with positive results. We do have a few attorneys that we are working with. We also have physicians that we are working with. And since we're out there right now, I would like to put a call out to any local attorneys or any local physicians that would be willing to at least speak with us.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'd love to have you. We don't want to put you in front of our whole group or anything like that.
No.
We just want to have a sit down conversation, just us and them, and just kind of beat some ideas off each other and bounce them off, and how things work and things like that. Because we were going to get into that a little bit earlier about what the physician does. It's not.
Yes, thank you.
It's not giving you a script to where you go to the store and you get your marijuana.
That's right. It's not a prescription.
What they're doing is using their freedom of speech and giving you a recommendation that it would work in a medical or a medicinal purpose.
That's right. So, and basically, that's also a protection for the physician, because they are not giving you a prescription. They are not giving you any type of means to provide the cannabis to you. They're simply giving you, like Tom said, a verbal or written verbal statement that's saying you would benefit from the use of it. And that's what the state uses to qualify you as a medical marijuana registered person. The conditions that are listed on the state law, they are going to have to be followed. But I also want to point out that the conditions are also results of other medication that you may be taking. So that is another key. Give you an example. Someone with diabetes may not qualify directly because they have diabetes. However, the medicine that they take may create symptoms that would qualify them, so that they can get the cannabis to treat the symptoms from the medication used to treat the diabetes.
Right. Yeah. So, because some symptoms do also qualify.
That's right.
Muscle spasms, severe cramps, severe pain, and things like that, chronic pain, those all qualify you. You do not have to have an exact disease.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're getting close to like the hour mark here.
Yes.
Stickham's got a problem. They don't let you go a full 60 minutes. So
all right.
They kick us off. So I hate to wrap up. You guys have
that is fine. We just wanted to get in a few things real quick. If you would, we've been pushing on the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association at michiganmedicalmarijuana.org. If you get on there, you can check them out. Like we said, join this club. They help out a lot. Also, come out to our next meeting. It'll be June 11th, Thursday, at 7 p.m., 6430 West Pearson Road in Flushing. We also would like to put out to Vans Hydro Store out in, Davison?
Mount Morris, I think.
Is it Mount Morris?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just north of Davison there on M15, brand new hydro store.
It's Mount Morris in M15. Is that the corner?
Yeah, actually.
Okay,
Yep,
all right.
Yep, it's right on the corner there. Nice little shop, but he's got everything that you could possibly need, and they're very knowledgeable. So want to plug the local area. Hey, this is a big business out in California. It can be big business here with a positive outlook for the community. And so we want to help other businesses be able to benefit from this.
Right, and another one would be we support things that we think are very healthy and economical in the medical marijuana movement. And one of the things that we do support is the Modern Vaporizer. And Shane at modernvaporizer.com, he sells the best vaporizer that you can possibly get. And this is medical quality vaporizer. And we'd really want you to check out the Modern Vaporizer. You can check that out off of the MMA page. He has an ad there, or his own website, which is, I believe, modernvaporizer.com. So check him out. Check out that vaporizer. And like I said, if you want a healthy way of using it, and a very it's a good way. You don't get the burnt popcorn taste as you do with some of the vaporizers.
It's an excellent tool for
right, and
real
it's
patients.
quality medical equipment.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll wrap it up, and I'll talk to you whenever you will. Tell yours people when to come to join you again. Okay.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.